Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. If you've been paying attention to what's been going on at Adobe, you probably already know that most Creative Cloud subscribers could download a beta version of Photoshop. And of course, that beta version will have new features for you to try out. The current beta version of Photoshop has something new called Generative Fill. It's only been out a few days, and there's already a ton of videos on YouTube from photographers talking about and demonstrating how great Generative Fill is. Now, personally, I wasn't going to do a video on Generative Fill quite yet because I've been playing around with it, and what I found is it works less than half the time. Now, of course, it's still in beta. It will improve, and I planned on doing a video on it eventually once it improved, but I've been getting a lot of questions from photographers about Generative Fill. So I thought I'd do this video. And in this video, I'll show you a couple situations where Generative Fill works pretty well. And then another situation where it fails miserably. Now, you're looking at the beta version of Photoshop right now. If you don't know how to download this, at the end of the video, I'll show you how you could download the beta version of Photoshop. In the beta version of Photoshop, there's another new feature. It's called the contextual taskbar. It's this little bar right here, and it comes in really handy. If you don't see the contextual taskbar, go up to Window and make sure that it has a check mark next to it. It's right here at the bottom, contextual taskbar. Now, with the contextual taskbar, you could do some things, like you could select the subject. And the way Generative Fill works is you select something in the image, and then it will fill it in. It will generate something through AI to fill in that area. For example, let's select the subject. And it's selecting our model. Now, I've done this 2 times before I decided to make this video. The first time I did this, it worked wonderfully. The second time I did it, doing the exact same steps, it worked horribly. So I have no idea what's going to happen here. So we selected the subject. Let's just say I want to fill her in. Basically, I want to get rid of the subject, and I just want the rest of the scene to look cohesive, like the subject was never there. What you could do then on the contextual taskbar, there's now a button, Generative Fill, because we have that selection. Just click on that. Now it's going to ask for a text prompt. And from what I understand from Adobe, that if you just wanted to reference everything else in the image, don't type anything in there and just click Generate. And that's what I did. And the first time I did it, it worked great. I mean, it had perfect awnings above doors and windows. It looked normal. It looked like it belonged. The second time I did it, it put a deformed man in the place of the woman. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. So let's see. And by the way, it sends the image up to Adobe servers to do this. So you do need an active internet connection. Now here, it doesn't look too bad. It put a woman in here. You can see this woman here, and it's a little bit maybe deformed there. It actually doesn't look bad. Let's go to the next one. You give 3 examples. Here's a deformed person in there. And there's another one. There's another deformed person. So it 33.3% on this one. That one works good. These other 2 are failures. As I mentioned, the first time I did it, it was actually perfect. It didn't have a person at all. It just had the awnings, and it had a doorway over here. It looked normal. Let's try it again. You could regenerate it by just clicking Generate. It will keep your 3 examples it gave you, and it will just do it again. And let's see what happens here and see if we get a better option. And as I mentioned, this is different every time I've done it now. This is the 3rd time I've tried the image, and I've clicked Generate probably 6 different times, and it looks different every time. Now here's a deformed man. You can see his fingers are deformed and whatnot. There's another deformed man. And that one doesn't look too bad, but it's still not that good. So overall, probably a failure, right? But let's go back to the open image. Now, most often you're not going to probably replace the main model in the image. You're going to replace everything around the main model. So that's what we're going to do. This is something you'd probably normally do. And so what we need to do is we need to select everything but the model. And the way to do that, the easiest way to do that is select the model by clicking on Select Subject. So we have the model selected. Now just invert the selection. And to do that on a Mac, hit Shift-Command-I. On a PC, hit Shift-Control-I. And now you've inverted the selection. The model isn't selected, everything else is. So I want to use Generative Fill here. Now I'm going to type in town. I'm going to put her in a town, all right? So we'll click Generate. You don't have to click one word or enter one word. You could enter a phrase or a sentence or a paragraph, and it will do its best, I suppose, to try to adhere to what you're writing there and generate what you want it to generate. Now, it's experimentation. So again, it sends the image up to Adobe servers. This is an Adobe stock file, so I don't care if the image goes up to Adobe servers. Your own personal images, you may not want them uploaded to Adobe servers. I'm not sure what they do with them outside of generating this background. You can see that works pretty good. I don't care for the background, but it worked well. That one I like, right? That looks pretty good. Just kind of a high fashion model, kind of in a lower rent district. It looks, there's a nice one. I like that one. See how it seems to work pretty well in certain situations. And let's go to another situation where I believe it will work fairly well. I have this model. This is another stock image. I got this one from unsplash.com. And again, we're going to select the background, but to do that, we're going to select the subject first. So click on Select Subject. All right, so we have the subject selected. Now I need to invert it again. Hit Shift-Command-I or Shift-Control-I to do that. Now we're going to click on Generative Fill. Now I want her to look like she's a big movie star and she's getting out of like a limo or a car or vehicle, something like that. So I'm just going to write car. That's all. And I'm going to write Generate. And let's see what happens here. Now, obviously, I tried this before I started the video, and this seemed to work well every single time. 2 out of the 3 images looked pretty good each time I tried it, which I tried it twice. So let's see what it does. And hopefully it doesn't make a lawyer out of me. Again, sending the image up to Adobe servers, and eventually it will give us a result. And okay, that doesn't look too good there. That one, she's getting kind of out of a car. That one, kind of getting out of a vehicle. That doesn't look too bad. Let's generate some more. So we'll do 3 more. So you could keep clicking Generate, and you could type something else in the prompt, something different beside, like I wrote car. So let's see what it does. Again, it takes a while. Depending on your internet connection, this could take a long time. Who knows? Okay, there's another car. There's another car, but she's got like a plant coming out of her ear. I'm not sure where that came from. See how it does kind of weird things sometimes? There's another one. Now, this probably is failing miserably compared to the other ones. Let's write limo instead of car. Again, when I tried this before, I hit Generate twice, and I got 6 different images. I think probably 4 out of the 6 images, it looked really good. So far, I don't think any of them look that good. So you could see how it's kind of hit and miss. All right, this one looks the best so far. Let's go to the next one next to it. That one doesn't look as good. And that one doesn't look as good. So this one doesn't look too bad. All right, so we got 1 out of 6, in my opinion. Your opinion may vary. Now, very generally speaking, this is a really broad stroke I'm going to do here. It seems to work better when people are in the image, or when a person is the subject of the image, like in this case or the previous case. If you have a landscape image like this, where you might have people in it, but they're really not the subject of the image, and you want to, say, replace the sky, it doesn't work well at all. It's never worked well. I've never got it to work on an image like this. Again, it's in beta. I know it's going to improve, but let's demonstrate. Let's say I want to replace the sky. So to do that, I need to select the sky. So we're going to go up to Select, and we'll go to Select Sky. Let's see what it does. And all right, it selected part of this lamp post. So I want to deselect that. So we're going to use the quick selection tool. We're going to use the -1, and we'll come up here and just deselect it from the lamp post. Okay. And otherwise, it looks good. It didn't select any of the building. It just basically has the sky selected. Let's just pretend that that is perfect. Now we're going to use Generative Fill again, and we're going to write in clouds. Oops. Like that. And we'll click Generate. Now, again, it's got to send the image up to Adobe. This is my image. It's sending up to Adobe. I don't think Adobe's going to do anything nefarious with it, but who cares? It's not that great of an image anyway. But anyway, it's sending it up to Adobe, and it's going to come back with 3 different examples of clouds. But what I found it does is it will, instead of just putting the clouds in the selected area, it modifies parts that aren't selected. For example, this building just got totally foobarred, right? There's before and there's after. The building wasn't selected. There's the second example, and this building looks totally weird, doesn't it? And so does the light. This light too, even something weird going on in there. And here's the third example. And I don't know, it's got like the ruins of a building up here. Let's zoom in a little. Like here, it's got this light totally distorted. And you can see what I mean. You could try to change this to a cloudy sky, let's say, and click generate and see if that works any better. I suspect it won't. So I've never been able to get it to work well on images where a person wasn't front and center, basically. The person wasn't the subject. Also, I don't have an example to show you, but it does seem to work well on non-busy images. So if you have an image that's like desert, and maybe a single like tree or something like that, and you want to put like an oasis in there or like just a water hole, it will do that. It seems to do that okay. But anything a little more complicated like this image, you see how it just totally distorts that building again. It messed up this light. And go to the second one. You can see that one's weird. And that one's not too bad. It messed up the light though. And the building isn't as bad. There's before, there's after. See, it had Christmas lights on it, or like lighting. That's totally wiped out. It totally changed the top floor of the building. And changed the trees too, considerably. So, it's not ready for prime time. That's why it's in beta and for us to test out. So give it a try. If you don't know how to get the beta version of Photoshop, what you need to do is open up your Creative Cloud app. When you open up your Creative Cloud app, go to Apps, and then go down here to Beta Apps. And in Beta Apps, you'll see that Photoshop Beta will be available, and you could download it. Now, there are some instances where you've downloaded because this happened to me, you've downloaded the current beta, but Generative Fill isn't in it. That's because it's in a different build. And to get it, what you need to do then is you need to go in your Creative Cloud go up to Help, and go to Check for Updates. You have to do it up here. Like, don't do it here in Updates here. Don't go here and check for updates there. Don't click there. That doesn't seem to go and look for different builds or the current build. Whereas when you go up to Help and check for updates, it looks for the current build. And then you'll get it. And that's what I did. So that's how you download it. And once you download it, hopefully you'll have Generative Fill and you'll be able to play around with it. And if you have messed around with it, let me know in the comments what situations you used it that it worked great, and what situations have you used it where it failed miserably, and what your general feelings are of it. Personally, even if it worked perfectly, I don't think it's something I would use that much. I wouldn't need to use it. But I don't know, that might change down the line, once it is out, but I don't think I'd use it too much. I could see where like an advertiser would use it. They might have a photographer or a staff photographer or something photograph a model in a studio and then put that model like on a ski slope, or put the model, on a mountain, or, in a desert, or whatever they're trying to advertise. They're advertising spring water. They're going to put the model in, by a spring, a natural spring. I don't know. So I could see where if it worked perfectly in advertising, it could be used a lot. And of course, it could be used for nefarious means as well, which, would be bad. Like, there's a court case and there's a divorce case, and the husband's claiming the wife is taking the kids to bars. He has a picture of the family, the wife with her kids, and he somehow puts them in a bar. Something like that. That could be horrible, right? So I'm not too keen on Generative Fill. And if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments as well. Thank you, everyone who watches my videos. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'll talk to you guys soon.